Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to a new series. We're going to be doing a Rags to Riches with none other than Barnet Football Club. And as you can see, we're kicking off our very first game away against Oxford United. We have our best starting 11 available on the pitch. But just so you know, Barnet Football Club are actually the lowest rated team in the League 2 system, which makes them the worst in the whole of the English league. So we're going to be using them in a true rags to riches fashion. We're going to be taking them all the way to the very top of the English Premier League, and then we'll look to hopefully win the Champions League with them as well. As I mentioned, we have our best starting 11 on the field. Sadly, this team has quite an aging team, all of which are likely playing their last season for our club. We have probably about 5 of those fellas. We do have some young fellas, but their quality is very low. So in the interim, we're going to be looking at the transfer window, of which I've taken the liberty of already doing some scouting that will fill 3 specific roles in the club. The first one will be a left back, a centre back, and a left midfield. So we have a few players that we'll have a look at after this game, and I'll stop talking for a moment so I can concentrate on not conceding our very first goal. Okay, we've conceded a corner. We'll pick up the commentary here. Dangerous ball in, nicely knocked out there by Stevens, who is our goalkeeper, who we have had a chance to do some training on. We're probably about 6 weeks into the season. Obviously this is the first game, but they do give you a big window so that you can do the pre-season friendlies, which we chose to skip. And so we've done a few weeks of training. Our goalkeeper, Stevens, is he's moved up to 58 rated now, which is great. Maybe even 59, I can't remember. But he definitely increased in quality over that period, which is great because our keeper is a very important role, clearly. Okay, we're on the break here with Yedem. Can somebody else give him a hand? Pop it over the top to Akinde. Oh, he's overrun it. Okay, Akinde. He's a big fella, but he's going to get knocked off the ball. Randall. Oh, and he's pushed it wide. Oh, he should have done better there. He really should have buried that. Oh, we're not going to get a good opportunity like that for a while, are we? Disappointing. But lessons learnt. Chance there. So just touching back on some of the things we want to frame our season or series with. We're playing on Legendary with some modified sliders. We're using the sliders as recommended by the True Brits on his channel, if you want to go check those out. Quite controversial, YouTubers alike usually have a big moan about, playing on pure Legendary, which is absolutely ridiculous, but that's the internet for you, right? So yeah, we are playing Legendary, so you can see that, we're not scoring tons and tons of goals, and it is very difficult to win the ball and keep the ball. So the other thing to mention is we're playing on strict finance, and a little bit of logic behind that being, if this is a real rags to riches, Barnet are flat broke. Imagine they've only just been in the league system for, actually this is their 2nd season, so they're still probably recovering from the financial pain of that, and League 2 doesn't really pay all that well. So that means we're going to have to be pretty tight with the money that we spend, and maybe in the 2nd season when we go up to League 1, if we can promote, then we can change some of the parameters that we use. For example, another good one is we're only going to use English, Irish, Welsh and Scottish players in our recruiting right now, because when you think about a team like Barnet Football Club, they're only ever going to bring in homegrown players. Now that said, they do have a few international players, but the quality of them is not great. So we're going to keep it to homegrown or locally bred players, and that way we can try and keep this a little bit more realistic. Okay, so that brings us to half time. Bit of a scrappy first half. Nothing really to talk about. We had 2 opportunities to score a goal. Both of them were terrible, and our passing is not that great either. But that's what it is like playing with Barnet. A nice break here. Can we find a final pass to put someone in? Off you go, Yedem. Whip that in gently. No, what the heck was that? Oh dear, great shot. Just not accurate. Okay, here we go. What can we do here? No, nothing. He's just not got the pace. He's got the ball through. Hit it, son. Oh, wow, that must have been pretty close. How far away was that? Oh, it was bending away. I thought it wasn't. I thought it was dipping. Never mind. Oh, get rid of that. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Oh, no. How on earth did that creep in? It was like a game of Pong between the 2 posts. Well, we certainly didn't do a very good job of clearing that out. Oh dear, what a mess. What a mess. Okay, can we claw back a goal and equalise? No, we can't. We've finished our first game. We've had our first defeat. So I guess things can only go up from here. And again, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to the new season, new series. And from here, we'll start looking at some of the players that we have in line for being brought into the club to finish bolstering those 3 positions that we mentioned. These are a few of the young players that we've been able to find. The ratings are exceptional compared to some of the ratings of our team. So we'll look at our team after we've looked at our shortlist, and you'll see just there the quality that we're going to be bringing in. Now, unfortunately, when you start looking at the prices, maybe not so much for maybe Page and Hanley, the costs is probably too much for us. So we're going to pull these guys in on loan. Maybe if we can buy a couple of them and get some on loan, then that means we're setting ourselves up for success in the future. So here we have John Sutter from Hearts Midlothian. He's decent stats. He's 64 rated. We bring him in, he'll be the highest rated centre back. Reece Oxford, again, he's 65 rated. He's 16. And if we can get him in on loan, he'll be also equally, well actually he will be the highest rated centre back that we would have. And Farron Rawson from Derby, again he's 19, 65. Pretty average overall skill set, but so for things that are standing out to me are Sutter's acceleration and sprint speed. It's always nice to have a centre back with some speed, not necessary, but to get back, definitely, not for attacking purposes. His strength is also important there. I want tall, strong centre backs. So we have 3 of those, and we'll make a decision on those. We've got 4 left backs. Tierney from Celtic, he's 64 rated. Henry from Walsall, he's 64 rated. Page, 59, which will probably drop him because he's a little bit too low in quality compared to the other guys. Although that said, if we buy, no, his rating I already know is equal to the guy we already have, which is not very much use to us. So we have 3 to choose from. Hanley, we haven't got his final report back yet. We'll probably get that after the next game. And then in the left midfield, we have 2 options. We have Ojo and Barker. Ojo from Liverpool and Barker from Man City. 2 quality players, clear difference in quality there. I'd like to get Barker, but if we can get both, that'd be great. And I think Ojo, let me just quickly check. He's only a left midfielder, however Barker, I think he may have the ability... No, he's also... Okay, so they're both left midfielders only. So it does limit our options with the versatility of these guys. But again, look at the stats, the acceleration, speed, the agility. These were searched on specifically for pacey left midfielders. So these are some good scout finds. So we'll look at putting in a loan offer for all of these guys, and seeing what the clubs say. Okay, so I'd like to introduce you to a starting 11. You got to see a bit of action of them in a game against Oxford United. Up top we have Akinde, 63 rated. Behind him we have Randall. We're playing a 4-2-3-1 formation. We've got Randall in the middle, Gambin and Yedem on each wing. We have Togwell and Champion as our CDMs. And then along the back line we have Johnson, Dembele, Nelson and Hoyt, with Stevens in goal. And then on our reserves, I've created a second squad. Helps manage, if people are injured or if they're red carded or anything like that, we can transfer, and that way we get a good chance of also maybe in a game we want to play a second team, we can just push these guys through. So Tomlinson is up front there with Weston behind him, sitting in cam. Wagu and Hackett on the wings. We've got Von Gook and Taylor as CDM. You can't quite see their names, but I've just memorised them. And then in the back line we've got Muddleton, Ngala, Day and Pearson. So you can see the quality of our back line there, and specifically our secondary squad is very low, in the 40s and 50s. But if we look at our main squad, we're in the 60s, which is great. Our left back replacement for Johnson would get us into the 60s, which is important, and even improving the back line, 60 for Nelson up to something like 64 would be great. And then, for example, replacement for Gambin on the left wing would bring that up into the mid-60s as well, which means that we have a really strong starting point. Right now I feel it's just a little bit too weak. As you saw in that last game, we didn't just have that edge to tie things up. So that's the team, and we're going to go ahead and use our second team against in the Capital One Cup, because I'm not interested in progressing in that cup. So hopefully we'll lose that. And the reason behind that, before you lynch me, is we're going to go for the FA Cup. That'll get us into Europe. So if we just concentrate on that one cup and not worry about this one as well, as then there's another cup that we'll have to worry about, the Johnson Paint Trophy eventually. This will help our schedule, and there's nothing worse than having a schedule where you only have a couple of days between games and having to play your best teams in both. So to remove that stress, we're going to bow out of the Capital One Cup. Not interested in progressing there. This will give us focus on the league, which is very important. And of course, if we can get a place in Europe, that's where the money is, and that's where naturally we can pull this in. So likely we'll be just making a few changes to the players. We're going to be making a little bit of money from the cups, but next season is where all the money will be once we're in the League One and we're in Europe. So here we go. We're going to play our second team away against Doncaster in the Capital One Cup. Okay, so we ended up getting thrashed 5-0, which probably would have happened even if we had played that game with the quality of the players there. Look, I'm not worried about that. Quality will come in time. I'm not going to get overly stressed out about the quality of our players and the losses right now. It's a build-up. It's going to be a slow season, and we can take all the positives away from all the games that we play and not get too hung up on it, all the negatives that will equally likely be there, and the disappointment as well. But this is an enjoyable career mode, a rags to riches story that we can enjoy together. Okay, so we've done a little bit more training. We've given Akinde another bit of chance creation, Gambin and Villette to increase their stamina really, and speed dribbling for Randall and Stevens to help increase his goalkeeping. Okay, so at this point we're going to wrap up the episode. In summary, let's go over some of the things that we've talked about in our episode so far. First, we've spoken about looking to try and promote to League One. Really important to try and accomplish that. Tied in with that, hopefully we can have a great cup run, which means next season we should be in the cash. The second point was about signing the English, the Welsh, the Irish and Scottish players. And on that note, we have some players that we'll review in our next episode. I'm looking forward to that. Next, the financial difficulty is set to strict, gameplay is set to legendary, and we're using modified sliders. I'll put a link to the True Brits video on that in the description. But overall, let's enjoy this experience. Thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And until then, Behave.